Miriam Carey was shot down 2 months ago now in Washington, D.C. by the Capitol Hill Police, Washington, D.C. Police, and by agents of the Secret Service. Was that shoot down an assassination and abortion of an unwanted mother? You know, when a woman gets pregnant and the child is unwanted by the couple that made the pregnancy, it's called an unwanted pregnancy and child. But it appears from the evidence that we have been able to glean after studying this matter now for the past couple of months, that Miriam Carey was an unwanted mother. So we've raised the question here, and we're going to dig deeper until we get the answer from the Justice Department or from justice in general. Is Miriam Carey Obama's baby's mama? The baby that was taken from the back seat of that 2010 Infiniti there in Washington, D.C., after the mother was shot down in a hail of bullets by the Washington, D.C. Capitol Hill Police. To date, the family has not been given an official notification by any of the federal or state or city agencies, including New York City Police Department, about the death of their sister and loved one. Valerie Carey, who I spent some time talking with going back some days ago now, has expressed to me that even at the time of their traveling to Washington, D.C., after learning about the death of their beloved sister on CNN, that they had not been and have not been to this date notified officially by any agency about the death. They did go to the morgue, and they were not allowed to view the body. They were only shown a picture. There's been no official autopsy release of the death of Miriam Carey. So we have to begin to ask some questions. Why is it that a 34-year-old dental hygienist driving down from Connecticut into Washington, D.C., and if you want to believe that she tried to ram the White House guardrails and then from there knew where the guardrails were to the Capitol building and that she should have been shot down, then release the report and tell us what the deal is. I've been to Washington a large number of times, Pennsylvania Avenue, Constitution Avenue, you know the works. I'll tell you the absolute truth. I could not drive from New York to the White House without a lot of direction. And then from the White House to the Capitol building in a sprint. I couldn't do it because I'm just not that well aware of Washington Street. There's a lot of information that we are not getting about this shoot down, this assassination, this abortion of this unwanted mother. And it's all pointing to the high possibility, higher than probability, that Barack Hussein Obama fathered a love child with Miriam Carey, and as most women enrage, hell hath no fury, as does a woman enraged, and enraged over Obama's treatment of her, drove down to Washington to confront him, to knock on the White House door and say, "Take your baby, I'm going back home." We know that Miriam Carey was driving a very expensive automobile, a late model automobile, she also owned a very pricey condo in the Stamford, Connecticut area. Connecticut is one of the higher price living states in America. She owned a condo. She owned outright an Infiniti, a very pricey automobile, very well dressed. How was she able to afford all of this if she was not given help by some sugar daddy? And was that sugar daddy Obama? And over the past couple of years that they have had a relationship, and she just exploded. And the assassination is now being covered up. Now, again, I talked with Valerie Carey, who is a retired New York City police sergeant, who has demonstrated that they're not sure whether or not the father, who is a man by the name of Eric Francis, or who is labeled the father, is indeed the father. And Valerie Carey and the family is calling for a paternity test. Let me say this. Would not it be a grave injustice if this young child whose mother was shot down to prevent the world from knowing who the real father is, and that real father being Barack Hussein Obama. I don't have conclusive proof. All I have are these very smelly telltale signs that something in this wash ain't clean. But wouldn't it be a horrible thing to deny this beautiful little girl the right to know that Barack Hussein Obama is her father? But more importantly, to protect Barack Hussein Obama. Her mother was shot down in a hail of bullets. We as the American people have to make a choice here about which way we're going to go after listening to me make this appeal and this assertion that Miriam Carey is Obama's baby's mama. We're going to have to make the decision as to whether or not we're going to protect Obama and allow this young girl to grow up with a father that was once the president or the alleged president of the United States of America, and she will never be able to enter into that reign or into that aristocratic, if you will, family lifestyle. And to keep all of this silent, she no longer has her real father biologically, and her real father very well may have been involved in the abortion of her real mother. We're going to have to make a decision here now. Listen, if Barack Hussein Obama is not the baby's father, a paternity test will exclude him from that. And all will be well. And there'll be nothing further to discuss. But if he is the real father, we as the American people are going to have to look deep inside of our souls and say, we will let this daughter, we'll let this beautiful young woman die and her child be raised an orphan so that Obama can be protected. You know, maybe if this was the Cuban Missile Crisis or some other kind of international event or some matter with respect to Congress and, money was stolen or lies were told by the president or others, then perhaps we could forgive it. Or even maybe if it was like the Bill Clinton, Monica Lewinsky, Paula Jones event where ultimately the truth came out, we could deal with it. But for us to allow this woman to die, for the American people to say that this woman, or to allow this woman to die, and we not raise our voices to determine what was the cause and reason for her assassination, makes us less than human. It makes us less than a nation that God could ever smile on up again just to protect one woman. And by the way, you need to know that the truth of this is going to come out, whether it's going to be Malia and Sasha, who someone may whisper in their ear at some point in time and say, you know, you have a half sister. Her name is Erica, and her mother was shot down in Washington, D.C. after trying to enter the White House. Or Erica herself, 5, 7, 10 years from now, may hear this video or see all of the other information swirling around where a large number of people are pointing to a cover-up and a conspiracy that perhaps Barack Obama is her father. This will not go away, like the Paula Jones event didn't go away, like the Marilyn Monroe event did not go away with Kennedy, and like the Bill Clinton's Monica Lewinsky event didn't. This is not going to go away, and I'm saying to you, it's better sooner than later. And then finally, the thing that makes this smell to high heaven is that Valerie Carey, who is a New York City retired police sergeant and the sister of slain Miriam Carey and the aunt to this very child who may have connections to Obama, to the presidency, that their families might be joined by blood. She has stated that she is an executive member of the National Action Network ran by Al Sharpton. She's a part of the East Brooklyn chapter. And Al Sharpton, to this date, has not picked up the phone to call her, to console her, or to comfort her. He did not attend the funeral. Now, you and I know that every time somebody black is shot down by somebody white, and more specifically, somebody black shot down by a police officer, Al Sharpton is Johnny on the spot, and we don't hear the end of it until years after the event has run its course and made Sharpton millions of dollars in publicity and power in the process, and put people in office over the deaths of Amadou Diallo, over the deaths of people like Sean Bell. But here is a beautiful 34-year-old dental hygienist with her child in the backseat of the car, no criminal record. There was no evidence of any violence in her life or in her past. She was shot down in a hail of bullets in Washington, D.C., and Al Sharpton is as asleep as Bill Clinton was on the night that the State Department spokesman called him and told him they're killing people by the hundreds of thousands in Rwanda. Can you do something to stop the killing? And Bill Clinton rolled over and went back to sleep. Well, Al Sharpton has rolled over and will not wake up to lift up his hand to ask the question about why was this woman killed. We need the Justice Department of Justice, not the Eric Holder Justice Department, but we need the Justice Department of the American people to ask the question. Is Miriam Carey Obama's baby's mama? And was her assassination an abortion of an unwanted mother? We need to ask these questions. No, we are not here to protect political people in the office of president or judges of Supreme Courts or Congress or senators. We're not here to protect them over the life of the innocent. We should not allow people to be shot down just to protect a person who has done wrong in the first place and now uses murder to keep people silent from telling the truth. We can't let that be known in America, and I'm sure that Erica, Malia, and Sasha are going to find out themselves. They're going to want to know. I'm asking you to unite with me. Let's raise the question. Is Obama abandoning his own child? What a hypocrite if he is. If this is his child, why can't he be a loving and responsible father? And if this is not his child and a paternity test demonstrates that it isn't, then I will stand in Macy's window in Herald Square and I'll throw egg on my face for a 24-hour solid spree to demonstrate how wrong I was for calling for this. But right now I'm standing in defense of Miriam Carey, her family, and this baby Erica, and I'm standing against black men fathering children and then abusing women. I'm standing against this possible women and violent abuse of women by Barack Hussein Obama and his henchmen there on the Capitol Hill grounds. I'm standing against this abortion of an unwanted mother. I'm against it, and I'm not going to stop until we get the truth of this matter if I have to wait 10 years to get the truth. And I believe that God will bring us the truth swiftly. You stand with me if you will, please. Alert everybody. Is this what we've come down to? And the next time Al Sharpton raises his voice when somebody black is shot by a police officer, what are you going to do then? Are you going to say, Miriam Carey, your life is worthless because you had a sexual encounter with Barack Obama, so therefore you deserve to die and he deserves to live, and your child deserves to be an orphan and kicked to the curb and abandoned by the most powerful man in the world just to protect his sexual interloping? No, my friends, no, America, no, 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 no. This will not stand. It cannot stand. It ain't gonna stand. Let's continue to press on until we reach the prize of information, either affirming or denying. Stand with me on this one. It's going to get rocky ahead now. It's going to get very, very rocky as we go forward. But God Almighty, who giveth us the victory, has not brought us this far to leave us. I'm James David Manning. I'm the Lord's servant.
All true, all the time. The Manning Report is sure to blow your